everyone, this is Ninja Girl Sakura1 here, back with another Sailor Moon Crystal episode review, and this is the one that I have been waiting for since the series started. This episode is, of course, Act 9, Serenity Princess, or Princess Serenity, whatever you want to call it, and oh my god, this episode, it was so emotional. The episode, Crystal Clear Destiny, I know this is the English subtitle, forgive me, I don't remember the Japanese title of the episode, but the episode in the original anime where the truth was revealed about Usagi and Mamoru, it was emotional and a very amazing moment in the original, but this version of the reveal blew that one out of the water. Oh my gosh, was it emotional. The episode actually begins where the other one left off with, of course, Mamoru severely injured, and in his mind he begins to remember who he is, and calls out Serenity's name, softly, but he says Serenity, and then passes out and seems dead, possibly, we don't know. Usagi then just bursts out in tears and is just screaming and is devastated, and then Venus's tiara, or the moon mark she had on her forehead, changes to her normal tiara with the orange gem, and then Usagi's tiara changes and breaks to reveal a crescent moon mark, and she becomes Princess Serenity, and she looks absolutely gorgeous, and the music that plays, wow, it was amazing. Oh wow, just beautiful. Princess Serenity then has the Star Locket in her hand, and it begins to tick backwards again, and she actually begins to remember who she really is, and she remembers how she and Damien were not supposed to fall in love, and that she wasn't even supposed to ever visit Earth, but she did against her mother's wishes, if I remember right. And then that's when she met Damien and fell in love with him. And they just, even though they weren't supposed to fall in love, they did. They couldn't help it. And we do see Silver Millennium, and it's just beautiful, by the way. And just like in the original, after that, Usagi burst out in tears, and the Ginzui shell appears. And it's a lot smaller than I remember it being in the original, but it's still beautiful and a wonderful moment. Serenity, I guess, then passes out, and then Beryl appears and orders Kunzite to get the silver crystal, because now's the best chance. The Senshi then come up to defend Serenity, and in the midst of it all, Kunzite somehow gets Tuxedo Mask, because apparently they think it went into him for some reason. And when Usagi, as Serenity, wakes up and sees this, she is just freaking out and is just begging Mamo-chan not to go, and it's just, oh, she's just so devastated. Then the scene changes to where the Senshi and Serenity are at the hideout, and that's when Venus reveals what we kind of knew already, that she is not the princess, that she is just the leader of the 4 inner soldiers who guard the princess. So yeah, that was the mission only she could do, that she mentioned in the previous episode. And even Artemis apologizes for kind of having to lie, but it was to protect the princess, which is of course Usagi. So yeah, The other senshi then also begin to remember their past, and how soldiers from Earth began to attack the moon, and then eventually Silver Millennium was destroyed. But at least the enemy, which is Queen Natalia, was sealed by the end of it all. Usagi then just, while they're talking to her, she, like in the original anime, says she doesn't want to be Serenity, that she just wants to be herself, Usagi Tsukino, and fall in love, and she just wants her Mamo-chan back. And it's just, it's so sad. Then we switch to a scene in the Dark Kingdom with Queen Beryl and Kunzite trying to find the silver crystal within Tuxedo Mask. However, they are not finding it. But Queen Beryl insists that it has to be in there, so keep looking and keep Tuxedo Mask alive. Kunzite, of course, planning to follow orders, but then the other Shiteno arrive, and they start to remember that they've seen him somewhere before. They end up brushing it off, but they are actually starting to remember the truth, which, spoilers, is that they were actually Endamien's guardians back during the days of Silver Millennium. So yeah. The scene then switches to Usagi having a nightmare, and she wakes up crying. And she herself wonders, how many times have I woken up like this crying? And it's so sad. Then we see Luna at the hideout, and she's just feeling so guilty for putting Usagi through all this. But then Artemis comes up to her and says it's not her fault, and it's going to be alright somehow. And the other sailor soldiers come up and say, yeah, it's not your fault, Luna. It's going to be okay. Why don't we go and cheer Usagi up? We want to see her smile again. So everyone agrees, and they go to the Tsukino house where they meet Ikuko and ask to see Usagi. And she says, well, she hasn't come out of her room, but yeah, go ahead, go say hello to her. So they go to her bedroom door and knock and say, Usagi, we're all here, can we come in? And Usagi says, okay, come in. And then we see that Usagi's hair has grown to insane lengths. That's mostly why she hasn't come out of her room. Venus then, or Minako, trims her hair up again for her and says that as Serenity, her hair was insanely long, and after her memories have awakened now, that's most likely why it grew to such insane lengths, so that explains that. And Usagi does feel a little bit better now that her hair's the way she usually has it, but yeah. Usagi also feels that she might be becoming Serenity and actually losing herself, and is kind of afraid of that. But everyone tells her no, she's not. She's still the same old Usagi who they love and will always be there for. And just everyone helps her and gives her a big hug. And this makes Usagi start tearing up again, and she's just so grateful and says, thank you, everyone. And it helps her. It helps her feel a little bit better about what's going on right now. But she is still insanely worried about Tuxedo Mask. Obviously. Luna then suggests that they go to the moon and get some answers, because obviously Silver Millennium on the moon must hold some answers that they don't know the answers to, some questions that they need to find the answers to. Everyone agrees that that's a good idea. Go to the moon and get the answers they need about certain things. And Usagi vows that she will not be a tragic princess ever again. And that's basically where the episode ends. Them preparing to go to the moon. And, oh my god, what an episode. Kotona Mitsuishi, her delivery was fantastic in this episode, and the animation quality I thought looked beautiful, so I don't have any issues with that. I know some seem to always have an issue with the episodes. Why, I don't really know. I think it just all looks great, but this episode blew Crystal Clear Destiny from the original anime out of the water. This was so much more emotional. I think this is my favorite episode of the entire series so far. The one thing I thought they would answer that they didn't was how Serenity died. However, that is going to actually be next episode, which is Act 10, Moon. Which of course means we're going to get to meet Queen Serenity, which is going to be so amazing. Just this episode. The only thing missing that would have made this even more emotional of an episode is when Serenity was revealed that this song, My Only Love, that you're hearing right now, if that song would have started playing, that would have made it even more emotional, but they obviously couldn't do that. That's a song that's owned by Deke, or, you know, I don't know who owns it now, because I believe Deke is actually shut down. Has been for years, if I remember correctly, but that's the only thing missing that would have made it more emotional, because just the rest of it, though, it was just so perfect. And the music they used was also very good, so I'm not going to complain at all, really. Just, this episode. I love it so much. Definitely watch it if you haven't yet. I know I basically just spoiled it for you all if you haven't, but this episode, it will make you tear up. I teared up. And I knew what was going to happen because I've seen the original anime. And I did read the chapter of the manga, but it's been a while. But, oh, what an episode. Oh my gosh. I can't wait for the next one. So, just, wow. But that is my review of Act 9, Princess Serenity. And until the next episode of Sailor Moon Crystal, I will see you guys next time.